Hey YouTube, back with another knife review here. This time it's going to be the Havalon Piranta Bolt. As you might have noticed, I'm sticking with a similar theme here. Again, this is another hunting style knife or skinning knife. Last video I did was this Benchmade Steep Country. Being that it's hunting season, I figured we'd go ahead and do another one while I was on the topic. So this one's obviously a little bit different. It's a folding knife, and it's also got replacement blades. Now, odds are if you're a hunter or you've been hunting, you or someone you know probably carries this knife, and for good reason, as we'll touch on. We'll also touch on some of the negatives of it, and I'll give you my recommendation on whether I think you should get it or not. So let's jump in. We'll start off with the specs as always. This blade length comes in at 2 3/4 of an inch, the handle length 4.5 inches, bringing the total length to 7 1/4 inches. One of the biggest advantages of this knife is definitely weight. As you can see, blade's really thin. It's got the plastic handles. This thing is super lightweight. Comes in just under 1.6 ounces, 1.59 to be exact. So this thing is extremely lightweight. As I mentioned in the previous video, I always appreciate that because, as the saying goes, ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. And I firmly believe that, being a person who's done a lot of backpacking and hiking into backwoods areas where you're camping and lugging all your gear, it's definitely true. The more weight you have, the harder it is, and the more your shoulders will thank you for every little bit that you drop on the weight. So big kudos to Havalon in that department. Let's jump in and talk about this blade a little bit. So this one comes from the factory with the 60A blade installed, but it accepts 60 XT and 22 XT blades as well. I believe the difference is the thickness. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the 60A I believe is a little bit thicker than the 60 XT. However, if you want the thinner blade, you could order replacements from Havalon and easily swap that out, as I'll show you later in the video. The reason for the different thicknesses is people are having some issues where they'd be using the knife in the field and the blade would break. And so Havalon came out with the 60A, which is a little bit thicker, to solve that issue. That being said, I really don't see an issue with either of the blades. I've used the XT, I've used the A. I think that if you're breaking blades that frequently, that you're probably not using the knife properly. And, you might rebut me on that a little bit, but this knife isn't meant for hard tasks. It's meant for skinning. It's not meant for going through bone and everything like that. You'll either bring a bone saw or you'll bring a cleaver or shears, something along those lines, but this is a skinning knife. So that being said, because the blade's so thin, if you are putting a lot of pressure or, putting any sort of sideways pressure on it, the tip might break, and that's one of the disadvantages of this knife. If you are skinning and you happen to break the blade, say in a deer, then next thing you know, you have a razor sharp, scalpel-like edge in the deer somewhere, and you need to find it. The last thing you want to do is stick your hand in, not knowing where the blade is, and cut yourself in the field. One, you'll get dirt and blood and stuff in the cut. It might get infected. And two, it's just obviously not pleasant. So that's definitely one disadvantage of these thinner blades than a traditional fixed blade skinning knife. Moving on to the handle. This is a hard plastic, which definitely helps in saving the weight. And then if you can see, there's this black inlay has some textured checkering in it to help grip. The back is open here. There's some texturing along the spine, not the spine, but the back of the handle. There's a pocket clip, it's removable. There's a lanyard hole if you want to add a lanyard. And that about sums up the handle. I will say I have average hands. This knife fits pretty well in my hand. I wish there was some jimping up here by the thumb. And the other thing that I will mention is you can see there's this cutout on this side of the handle. But on the other side it actually sticks out a little bit further. And so you don't get that, you can't really put your finger there comfortably, or at least I can't. Maybe you say it's not a big issue, and overall it isn't, but it's just a little point there. So now that I talked about the blade, the handle, now one thing I forgot to mention, because it's open on the back here, makes it super easy to clean. If you're gonna get dirt and blood and whatever else in there if you're carrying around in the field, so makes it super easy to just spray down when you get home and clean it out. So moving on from the knife, I'll talk about the sheath a little bit. This comes with the knife. You get 12 replacement blades. Here I have 4 or 5 in here, replacement blades. And then there is room to put the knife in as well. So you have a couple options here for carrying. Me personally, I carry it like this. I put it in my pack because I tend to have a fixed blade knife on my side. But there is the option to carry it on your belt as well. This belt loop is way tighter. If you remember from my last review, this one's loose, so it tends to slide around a lot. This one's way tighter, and also this nylon has some texture, so it doesn't slide along your belt as easily, which is really nice. But still, I tend to keep this in my pack. If you wanted to, you could carry it in your pocket, but I think the disadvantage with that is then you might forget some of these replacement blades at home. So I like to keep it all in one package, that way I don't forget anything. Keep some replacement blades in there and then just throw this in my pack. Super lightweight, super easy. Since I'm kind of on the topic of replacement blades there, and I just mentioned them again, the other thing that came with the knife was this replacement blade changer. So I'll show you how to use it really quick. You can see there's a place to put the blade. You stick it in there, close it. You can see it has, I don't know if you can read that, but it says press. So you just press down and you pull the knife out. Now, even though you might be replacing the blade because it's dull, be careful. When you open this up, do it carefully, take the blade out, put it away so no one cuts themselves or steps on it. Then get a new blade, carefully put it in here. You can use needle nose or pliers if you want to, if you have a Leatherman with you. Then put this underneath. You'll kind of get to the point where you can't push it in any further. That's when you press the button, push it forward, and then let go. Then you open it up and you got a brand new blade. If you're going to go in the field, I recommend taking this, throwing it in your pack. It's not going to add any weight really. It's super light. It's also safer. I've seen people do this with a Leatherman or multi-tool, and I generally carry one with me in the field, whether it's a smaller one from Walmart or one of these bigger ones from Leatherman. But personally, I think this is safer because the blade's covered. It was designed by them for this purpose. And I'm sure if you lose it, this is probably super cheap to replace. I'm not sure how much, but I'm sure you could probably find it on Amazon for $1 or $2. So don't quote me on that if I'm wrong. But getting to the bottom line, would I recommend this knife? I'd say yes, 100%, especially if you have it in tandem with a bigger knife and maybe a multi-tool. Uh, I think it makes a great complement to a bigger knife for doing some of the more fine skinning work. It's also the price point on this. You can probably find them for $30 to $40 online. The replacement blades are super cheap. You get about 12 in a pack, and usually once you get the technique down, you can skin maybe 2 deer before you have to replace the blade. So the pack replacement blades are about $5, which means really in the grand scheme of things, you can process a lot of deer for not a lot of money. And this is just invaluable to have in the field. It's super lightweight, so you're not really going to notice it regardless of which way you decide to carry it. But I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts, so let me know what you think below. Do you have one of these in your hunting pack? If not, maybe pick one up, try it out. Get one for your friend. If they don't have one, make a nice Christmas gift for anyone who's a hunter. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you again.